Hi, Chef Anthony here at Don's Appliances. Today I'm going to go over your Thermador 48-inch professional range. Now this one is a dual fuel range. So what I mean by the dual fuel is, we got the gas on the top, we have the electric ovens on the bottom. You'll see the similar configuration in the all gas, but we'll have the gas ovens and you won't see that warming drawer. For all intents and purposes, we're going to go over the cooktop first, okay? So we have great pro grates here. We have the Thermador Star burner here with the brass cap, and really I like to pick this up. I like to show customers under here. Here's the rubber for the feeding. So we make sure in the use and care that we these are all on, because they will scratch the cooktop if we take this off. So think about that in your cleaning. So keep that nice. Put these off to the side. When we talk about the cleaning of this, though, we're going to talk about the grates. We want to soak those grates in some warm soapy water, or hit them with a little bit of white vinegar, kind of get all the grease and things like that off them. These we do not put in the dishwasher because of the rubber feet. So paper towel is another no-no for this cooktop. Yeah, I said it, paper towel is a no-no. It'll leave those white flakes and specks in the metal here, so it'll make it actually look a lot older than it really is. What we want to use is microfiber cloths or a dark cloth, okay? Something like that won't leave white residue and film. The best part about this is the cooktop. So when we talk about this, we can pick this Star burner cap up as well. This can be cleaned, and just like the grates can be soaked, we don't want to put this in the dishwasher either. What we want to do is we want to look at this Star burner. Here's the igniter here. So in the cleaning aspect, we want to make sure there's no debris, whether it be cooked on pasta or something like that. We want to make sure this is nice and free. If you do have some debris in there, just get a wire brush and just lightly go in there. And if you see any clogs in the igniter here, this is really where we want to clean that. All intents purposes, if this is clean, which it is now, we want to clean underneath here, and Thermador on this model makes it nice and easy with the raised cap. So under here, we can clean with mild soapy water, finish it with Windex with white vinegar. So the Windex with white vinegar will leave it streak free. The vinegar will cut out any of the excess grease. So, mild soapy water, wipe it down, then Windex with white vinegar will clean this with a microfiber towel. That'll go for all of these little bins here, and they are all a sealed system, so you don't have to worry about getting water in there. It won't drip down, okay? Great part. The center griddle, if you have it on your model, which we have it here, this is a nice griddle to clean on, nice griddle to cook on. But when we're talking about cleaning here, we just want to use just water and a scrubby and a wooden spoon. So you'll put your scrubby down, put a little warm water down, and just go left or right. We don't want to really get any soap on this surface because it is an eating surface. The part is removable, so we can pick it up. And if you do have like a stain on here or a heavy, soiled item, we can take this over to the sink and really give it some extra scrubbing and treatment. So nice little scrubby on this one, things like that, okay? And I want to talk to you about the burners. So they're great Star burners. Let's turn this one on here. See that fired up. That is on high, okay, everyone? So we got that great gas flow, that great airflow. Now I'm going to take it from high, I'm going to take it down to low. Now that's the low. Now here's the extra low. See, if you turn this on, and that'll be XLO, so that's the extra low. That'll be on these two burners and the far two burners on this dual fuel. So if you see that, what's going to happen is the burner's going to hold at a constant temperature just to keep things warm. We want to keep chili hot, soup hot, even if you got a pot of tea, that's where you want to store it on this extra low. All the finished items that you don't really want to scorch. Tomato sauce is like one of the key ingredients that everybody says, oh, the bottom burns. Oh, I heard that click. See that? So now it clicked off, and now in about 30 to 40 seconds, depending on the temperature in the room, it's going to click 3 times and cycle back on. That's how Thermador designs their extra low, okay? So it'll click 3 times, cycle on. Don't get nervous, don't think there's gas running. There's no gas running now, but I'll cheat up a little bit. I'll turn it back on, and you'll hear that. See that click, 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 and that extra low? Now it fired back up. That's what it'll do consistently. It'll cycle on and off. So that's really what I like to show customers in this use and care, is that extra low. The fact that you do have, in one burner, you have the power, to go to 20,000 BTUs, but you have that ease ability to go to extra low to really keep all of your hot food warm. Chicken noodle soup, Alfredo sauce, all the delicates, even tempering chocolate's kind of the best one as well. So think about, if you're doing some chocolate work, it's great. So for the center griddle right here, we're gonna actually use this burner right here, and you could tell by here, it'll give you the designation. So you wanna push it in, and then we'll crank it up right here. That little incandescent light lets you know that it's preheated. When that light shuts off, means it's come up to temperature. So it's a nice little feature for you. So we're gonna let that heat up, and it'll really, what you want to do on here, you want to pan sear anything that you want to use a skillet for. So think about doing hamburgers, making grilled cheese, doing breakfast. Literally anything you want to pan sear gives you the option. But I urge customers, if you're going to use this, invest in your whole meal. So think about doing hamburgers on here. Do 4 or 6 burgers. Next maybe throw some home fried potatoes on, roast your vegetables on here as well. The key to this though is if we're going to do vegetables, we're going to do things like that. We want to season them in the bowl. And get all of our oil in there. We don't want to start spraying oil in here that'll make this dirty or make our backsplash dirty. So kind of keep it nice and clean, keep it working through. And if you heat this thing up to 300 or 400 degrees, you're going to have fun searing, making pancakes, making scrambled eggs, making omelets, even any breakfast item that you have. And in this model, you have the option of the warming drawer as well. So think about this, and I tell all the customers, you're gonna make all your stuff right here, hibachi style, do some fried rice, but heat up your warming drawer and place it in your warming drawer. So now you can use your warming drawer to keep your food hot, and you're really constantly, using the griddle and making it functionality, like making it really functional for you, okay? So that basically just covers the cooktop. I'm gonna go through next and talk about the oven and some of the features. So what does what in the world of convection, which by the end of this video, everybody should be using convection. Okay, so let's jump in. So here is our big oven. So this is the primary workhorse. This is gonna be for your holiday stuff, all your needs. There are 3 heat sources in this oven. So the broiler element on the top right here. So it's a mirrored broiler element. So you see that metal piece underneath. So it's a broiler element, and that metal right there is really gonna heat up. So the element's gonna heat up, and that metal piece is kind of gonna mirror that finish and radiate that heat through the top of the oven to kind of give it a more central location, a stronger broiler, okay? The bottom right here is a hidden bake element. So the element was exposed on the top, it's hidden on the bottom now, and this is a huge step for Thermador. Now it's easier to clean this oven out. So it's an all sealed piece, so you can wipe this oven out a lot easier. And being that it is an element under here, we can't put foil or anything directly on this because it'll melt to the porcelain and the enamel. So no foil on the bottom, okay? In the back there, if we look directly back, we see the convection fan. So that is really where our 3rd heat source is. So picture a heat source behind that fan, heating up, and that fan turning on and pushing that air towards the glass. So now we see how that oven will really preheat faster in convection, and it'll give us a more even product on our rack from edge to edge, okay? This model has 3 glide racks, be about 25 to 40 pounds of weight, nice and easy. These, if you do self-clean, will need to be removed because the ball bearings here will tarnish and melt, and you won't see a great finish on here. To clean these, I have an amazing YouTube video, but I would like to get a plastic tub, some hot water, a little bit of vinegar, and some dryer sheets. Yes, I said it, some dryer sheets. So let them soak in there probably a half hour to 40 minutes, and then start wiping everything away. You'll be amazed how good this is, okay? So we'll close that. I'm gonna close this door, and I'm really gonna talk about the dial right here, and we're gonna jump into some of the finite settings of this oven, okay? First and foremost, we see remote start. Now this is a Wi-Fi enabled product. So if we go to Home Connect, we log in, we register our product, we can remote start this from our iPhone, smart device, or tablet. We can monitor the cooking process and really get into all the features of this oven without really being here. Anywhere we have a Wi-Fi signal. So for the person that's home that doesn't know how to cook, we're just a click away, right? Next is our standard bake. So this is our low and standard bake setting that's been on every oven. The only time I really use this is if I make like a cheesecake in a water bath, or creme brulee in a water bath, something where there's open liquid in the oven cavity that I don't want the convection fan to turn on, slosh around, maybe make a mess in the oven or deteriorate the product. So it's really the only time I ever use bake in this professional oven. Next is convection bake. So This is bake with the convection mode. So picture that bake element coming up, heating that oven cavity, but that convection fan flying all the way through. I'm going to give you an example of what I would cook on convection bake. I would use a cake, a tray of cookies, a pie, a tray of brownies. Notice I say a, one singular, because in this oven, with this convection bake feature, I'm heating up the bottom with the convection fan. So if I would do 3 trays of cookies, they would all be 3 different temperatures, okay? So now this is the sweet spot. We're gonna bake a lasagna, we're gonna bake a chicken parm, we're gonna bake a cake, and we're gonna bake a brownie. Our next feature is true convection. So this true convection or multi-cook convection, this is pure European convection. Now, what I mean by that is we're not using that broiler element, we're not using that bake element, we're using just that fan in the back to pump air throughout the oven. So if I hit true convection 325, that means when this oven's preheated, that this rack is 325 degrees, this rack is 325 degrees, and vice versa. This rack is 320. Most even heat in your oven. This is anytime there's more than one item in here, we're gonna be using true convection. So think about 3 trays of cookies for the holidays. Think about doing dinner rolls, a casserole, and a roast. Everything is gonna go in here. I could actually put 3 pies here, 3 pies here, 3 pies here. If I put them all in at the same time, take them all out at the same time, they're all gonna be golden brown delicious. So if anything from this video, true convection is the most easiest heat. Anytime there's more than one in there, I'm using true convection. Think about that, okay? Right, our next one, we're talking about the self-clean. So there are low, medium, and high. Once again, all the racks will be removed and self-clean, but I find that we don't like to do it around the holidays at all, but I find that these ovens, now that they're a sealed system, are very easy to wipe out with vinegar, some baking soda. Even a magic eraser kind of gets in there. The only thing we have to really worry about is the venting on the door here. See this piece? And it's different on all makes and models, but you know, this, if we get any liquid in here, it's gonna leak through to the glass. We don't want that, so really stay away from here. But the Windex with the white vinegar, magic erasers, the baking soda, the vinegar, I mean, it just really cuts all the grease and really keeps this. There's a nice slick finish on here nowadays, so these ovens really don't need the self-clean. So just, you know, work on your arms, get a little elbow grease in, and it should work out very well. Next one is convection roast. So this is a great setting. So we're gonna think about all 3 heat sources. So we're gonna use the convection fan, we're gonna use the bake element, and the broiler element. All 3 come together. So think about your Thanksgiving turkey. You need that big turkey in there. You need that browning on the top. You need that convection bake on the bottom, and that fan to fly all the way through. Think about your holiday hams, Thanksgiving turkey, like I said, tenderloin, you know, a roast, anything like that is really gonna need all 3 of those heat sources together to kind of cook. This is really the option where you'd add your roast probe, dial in the temperature, and really make some magic. So these ovens these days are like computers, man. The more input we give it, the more it knows, the less we have to do. So think about that. The next one is regular roast without the convection. So that's just gonna be the top and the bottom coming together. What we're gonna do is this is, you know, if we're gonna do a roast in liquid, like a braised item or something like that, like a chuck roasted potatoes, short ribs in liquid, to where we have a lid on it, it really doesn't matter with the convection fan. So that's really what we're gonna do here. Convection broil. So this is gonna be your broiler element on the top with the convection fan. You're like, chef, what am I gonna do with that? I always say to customers, have you ever broiled a steak or a piece of fish when just that broiler comes down, browns that meat, but it's still raw in the center? Here in convection broil, we still get that great broiling, but we have that convection fan bringing heat and flying all the way through that protein product, okay? Another one, you know, if you're not doing a lot of meats in here, you know, maybe you're using your griddle a lot. I always say Brussels sprouts, roasted vegetables, things like that work really well on convection broil, even if you're cooking for a crowd. Like I would season 2 bags of carrots, you know, and olive oil, salt, and pepper, put them on cookie sheets and put them on convection. I get the browning that I want, but I get the convection to fully cook them. So, you know, this is a great mode for that. All right, then you have your standard broil without the convection. This is a very powerful broiler. Doesn't need to have the oven cracked anymore, and you don't really even have to cook on the top one, because I showed you before that mirrored finish. You can kind of cook in the sweet spot and still on broil. But for regular broil, I just like to say, maybe brown some cheese off. Like I have a mac and cheese that's fully cooked. I just want to gratinate. I want to brown it off. That's the broil. You just want to make some garlic toast nice and easy. You hit broil. You want to toast some bread, stuff like that, and vice versa, French onion soup. That's really where the standard broil is, and you don't need the convection because we're not cooking a protein. We're cooking something from raw, right? Next, we'll throw it right off. So that really covers all the modes in your primary oven. We're gonna jump next to our secondary oven, and this one is a fun one. This is the steam oven. So if you have the all gas version, you don't have the steam oven, you're gonna see the same features on this oven as that oven. But for all of our dual fuel friends, stay tuned, because I'm coming right over. So we open this oven up. First thing we see is our water magazine right here. So this will need filled prior to use. It will hold, let's say, 60 to 90 minutes of steam, depending on what we're doing, right? Nice and easy. We fill it up, put it right in here, and make sure it locks. Hear that lock? Means it's nice and in, okay? This is one of the easiest ovens to clean. You could just run a steam cycle with some vinegar in here or some fresh lemons. Really comes out clean. This is like the first one I like to clean, truthfully, all right? So let's go with our settings right here. So first one is steam. So that is 212 degrees. So this will mimic a boil. Anything you want to boil on the stovetop, think about doing in your steam oven. You could do rices, pastas, grains, absolutely do shellfish and vegetables. But you know, that steam and that rolling boil is really gonna make life convenient because you don't have to really boil things on your stovetop. You can do them right in your pan, all right? Steam and convection is really why this oven, A, costs what it does, but is so effective. So we have the steam and we have the convection coming together. So another convection fan in this oven, pumping air. But the big kicker is we can raise the internal cavity of this oven. Where we're steaming in the past setting at 212, now in convection steam, we can bring this all the way up to 450 degrees. So we're cooking high and hot with the addition of steam. What that does is that introduces all the proteins. Nobody likes a piece of steamed salmon. It just doesn't look eye appealing. But convection steamed salmon with teriyaki with a nice glaze on it looks a lot better. So now we can get great color, great texture on our roasted chickens, on our tenderloins, on our pork loins, things like that. Even our leaner cuts of fish can have some browning, some Maillard reaction now in this setting. So think about that. It's really great. Another piece is reheat. So any fully cooked item, whether it be General Tso's chicken, fried rice, grandma's pasta and meatballs can get reheated in here. So now, instead of the microwave, it's gonna take a few minutes longer. I'll say 45 minutes longer, but with that addition of steam, it refreshes the food, whereas the microwave would dry out the food. So think about that pasta and meatball dish, refreshed in the reheat setting. Adding the moisture really makes it, a great piece and kind of fresher and better than it was the day before. So think about that. Now we have a reheat setting in, next is the defrost setting, excuse my French here. So the defrost setting is really gonna run 190 degrees, just pouring steam into here and slowly break whatever it is down and defrost it. Great setting. It's gonna take a little bit longer than it would in the microwave, but I always use the example of like big pieces of chicken coming together. If you would microwave it, it would be overcooked on the edges, have that gray line. Here in the steam oven, in defrost, it really does it a lot gentler, uses the convection fan, and really makes sure, like if you have a great product, maybe some salmon or some exotic fish frozen, this is the way to defrost it. Okay. Next, there is a clean, steam clean in here as well. It is only about like an hour and a half or something like that, but really does run a nice once through. If you're doing a lot of fish, you're doing a lot of vegetables, you have a little bit of odor in there, maybe a little bit of water you missed in the drying cycle, steam clean will be your best friend. Another one here, I love this. This is slow cook. So you'll see this on a few items, but now in the steam oven, we can go low and slow, under 300 degrees. This is great for tougher cuts of meat on the bone, as like ribs or short ribs or pulled pork. If you want to do a pork shoulder, really can go in here nice and low. Even it'll mimic almost a crock pot setting. So think about like that roasted chicken enchilada, crock pot, whatever it is, can kind of go in here in a Pyrex pan, 4 hours, 3 hours, 6 hours, whatever it is, it'll slow roast really nicely. So great option to not go outside. Proofing is our next one. So proofing is going to make any yeast-raised dough double in size. So I always refer back to my grandmother. She used to have a pot. She used to have oiled dough in. She used to have to put a towel over it, put it in a warm spot in the house, kind of move it all. Now we can proof in 90 to 100 degrees right in our oven. So if we have like French bread dough, we have pizza dough that we stretched out, now we can proof it in our oven and go right into baking in our oven. Huge piece. Next one, true convection. So we talked about true convection in the first oven. Now we have it in this oven too. So if you're not sold on steam by now, which you should be because you bought it, that's my joke. But the true convection, we can use this as a convection, strictly a convection oven. It's going to heat up a third of the time as it would in the normal oven. So think about true convection. 350 degrees, you could do a tray of cookies, you could do some brownies, you could do convection bake, whatever you want, nice and easy without heating up your big oven. So this can be a Monday to Friday oven, I like to tell a lot of customers. Next is the steam program. And I urge customers to really use this if they're first getting into it. It'll have everything from vegetables, poultry, beef, pork, lamb, anything you want in here, really programmed. And the amazing part is, you can dial in the temperature and the weight, and it'll give you the exact doneness. It really does all the timing for you, okay? Now we'll shut that off. That's really everything in your steam oven. The only other piece we talk about is the warming cabinet. So now we keep the warming drawer to a nice low temperature. We don't want to ever really keep it up to high, because I feel like when we go to high, it's around 200 degrees. It's a little bit too hot. So think about just using your warmer, for all your finished foods. Hold your casseroles, hold your things. I even like to tell customers, if you bought like an apple pie and you want to serve it warm, put it in here for a half hour. Serve some warm apple pie. There's a ton of different uses, kind of keep all the food hot, keep everything running well. Close that up, nice easy close. That really covers all the features on our Thermador 48-inch range. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope it helped you out, kind of get into cooking. So thank you from Don's.